We grew 3 varieties of Flint corn this year. What we're looking at now is a patch of Hobart. Very few people are growing Hobart. It's an old Maine corn. And this is a small patch of maybe 40 or 50 plants on very rich soil where there used to be a compost pile. Towards the end of August, one of the ears on the Hobart was all dry. The husk was dry, so I picked it today and have brought it in and have it set up on top of the antique corn sheller, which we'll be showing in a bit. You can see this is a beautiful long yellow ear, 8 rows, like most flints, and in a second I'll pan up in the greenhouse to last year's crop of the Flint corn we grew in the same way that we grew the Hobart. This is last year's crop, still hanging in the greenhouse, of Knowlton, which is another beautiful long yellow Maine heritage Flint corn. And we will be taking this down soon and hanging up the harvest of the big field, which is away several hundred yards, of the Byron corn. And we will be shelling some of this Knowlton for you over here in the antique cabinet corn sheller, which was actually invented in the 1850s, and many of these were made in a little shop in Winthrop called Benjamin and Company. And over the years I've found maybe 5 to 7 of these. I think that the cast iron components were probably made not in Maine, but were shipped by rail to Maine, and then different shops manufactured this design. You can see 2 drawers below, so the corn goes in the hole in the top. The arm pulls a wheel which pulls the corn into 2 truncated cones, opposing cones with teeth, and then the cobs drop into the first drawer, and then wires catch the cobs, and then the kernels drop into the bottom drawer. We'll show you that in a bit. Drying in our herb drying nesting nylon baskets higher up in the greenhouse is this year's crop of Gaspé flint, probably the northernmost flint we know about, which was first commented on in the 1500s by Jacques Cartier. He found flint corn growing in the St. Lawrence Valley, and he encountered native people fishing and hunting in the Gaspé who had corn cakes with them. This is a very diminutive corn that only grows 3 or 4 feet tall, and the ear actually grows right next to the ground, and it's only in a good ear 5 or 6 inches long. However, we've found that some of these seeds have the ability to throw out as many as 6 additional stalks from one seed, so you could have as many as 7 ears of corn from one seed, which is truly remarkable, and that's a very important gene to be able to preserve. Across the street from our kitchen garden is where my little plot of the Gaspé grew. You can see here one of the really small plants, and near the bottom of that plant is a very small ear that I did not harvest. It's kind of bright green, and you can see how close to the ground they grow. It's said that it takes 12 days, maybe 12 days or so, for each kind of bamboo segment of the corn to grow. So when native women, found a corn where the ears express themselves on one of the lower nodes, they cut 10, 20, sometimes 30 days off the growing season. So the Gaspé flint is remarkable that it's under 80 days, between 70 and 80 days before it's mature. So even though it looks tiny and some people might not take it seriously, the fact that it can produce up to 7 ears from one seed means that a single seed could easily produce as much as one big ear of the 90 or 100-day corns. Here is our field of Byron Flint corn. The birds seem to be present. We hope that they aren't eating the kernels yet, although it's getting close. It's probably as long as a football field and as wide, and it's planted where young friends of ours of Steel Bow Farm had their certified organic farm for the last 3 years. They've since moved to Texas. The Byron is nearly ready to pick. We had some good luck and not so great luck. We decided to do a no-till method, and we lost an apprentice before the season began. But after we had planted this field with the help of our third-generation sweet corn farmer, Luke Moore, down the street, helped us plant and till the field, and we got pretty good germination, and we added an organic chicken compost pellet everywhere we planted, and we have some mixed results. But if the electric fence holds up and the deer leave us alone and the birds give us a break, we will get a good harvest of the Byron corn this year, which is similar to the Knowlton and to the Hobart and has great promise for joining the mainstream again of Maine Flint corn. Here's a nice ear of the Byron. It looks like it'll be 8 or 10 inches long, and you can see there's no bird predation yet, and so if we watch this on a kind of a daily basis and keep up with it and then get some friends to help us harvest it, we will have several bushels of Byron corn this year. I was just out at the field. It's near the end of August, and there were several ears of the Byron dry enough to pick. So I've picked 6 and brought them home and shucked them so you can see how similar it looks to the Hobart and the Knowlton. And you can see the third ear in from the right had poor pollination, so it's spotty, but the rest of them all look pretty good. And some didn't mature out to the ends, but they're going to yield some really nice corn. I think we'll probably be borrowing the Maine Grain Alliance solar dryer, so that once these are husked, you can lay them out in the dryer and dry them in 2 or 3 sunny days. And it should also be said that the Byron corn was saved by Will Bonsall of the Scatterseed Project. It was in a shoebox upstairs from an older farmer named Mosier in Wilton, and they were talking about other things, but the conversation switched to corn, and he remembered corn upstairs that was several years old, and his housekeeper went up and got it, and Will planted it, and it was vital, and it's been Will's mainstay corn now for 40 years or so. He gave some to me 30 years ago, which inside of an electric fence and a page wire fence, the horses found it and broke through and ate every stalk to the ground. He also gave some to Pam Proden in Wilton, and she has done a remarkable job of growing it and doing hand pollination to increase its vitality and get all the genetic information from several plants throughout her crop, and then put that all together so that the ones she's saving for seed have all the diversity of all the plants in the field. And she and Will must be credited for preserving and bringing back this remarkable variety of corn, which is Michelle's favorite as cornmeal to cook with. As the Byron ripens, all the songbirds, mostly the sparrows, recognize that it's highly edible and delicious, so they've started to come and nibble away. So I have tassel bags now on top of each ear so that they can finish maturing before we harvest them in the next week or 2. Here's one tier of the Gaspé which we have drying, Second
Okay,
tier.
thanks, Em. Right there.
Third tier.
Go.
This is a Morrison patent cabinet corn sheller, our favorite type. And they were made, patent was from 1856, but they were made by Benjamin and Company in Winthrop, Maine. And it has a big cogged wheel on this side that's turning two truncated cones opposite this wheel and a feeder wheel on the back. Here's the mechanism. When we put the corn in, it's going to go in here, and the two cones will peel the kernels off, and the big wheel will pull the corn into the mechanism. I'm going to make take some corn off. Corn cobs land on the first drawer. Nothing spills on the floor. And the kernels are now ready to grind in the bottom drawer. Here's an antique commercial Hobart coffee grinder that turns out to be the perfect tool for grinding corn, if you can find them. Keep your eyes on eBay for such a thing. I found this through Uncle Henry's. And the only thing that's been added to it is this little aluminum chute. Otherwise, it's original. It used to be in grocery stores so you could grind your own coffee. I'm grinding some of the Byron Flint corn that our friends at Songbird Farm, Adam and Johanna, grew last year. And this is the corn that we're trying to reintroduce in quantity to Maine. And they're growing it, and others are growing it. We're growing it this year in our big field, and it's our favorite tasting corn. So this is going to make some noise. You can smell the beautiful aroma of the corn after it's ground. And we'll package this now and put it in the freezer and use it for cornmeal and johnny cakes and clam cakes. It's a fabulous corn. Thank you. We're shucking the corn. Oh, Bernard is inside the solar dryer, spreading the corn out into an even layer so that it'll all dry evenly. We're not going to quite fill this dryer, but we've got quite a lot. What a big help he is. Hey, it's 4:30, Saturday, September 12th. Here's all the corn inside the solar corn dryer. We had our next door neighbors, we had two other friends, we had a family from Portland, a friend from Harpswell, and Michelle and Albie. A bunch of us picked the corn, put it in buckets, put it in a garden tractor trailer, brought it back and shucked it for several hours, and then wheelbarrowed it over and put it into the solar dryer, where in a few days it should be ready to take out, and then we can store it and process it for seed and food.